Hi, my name is Brenna Hicks, also known as the Kid Counselor, and I'm a licensed child therapist in the Tampa Bay area, Florida. This video is part of my question and answer series. I recently received a question from a grandmother with her concerns regarding her grandson's behavior since his parents separated. There were several issues that she was facing, so I'd like to address some of those issues and hopefully it will be helpful to all of you. If you are dealing with parental separation where a child is going to be living in two different homes or dealing with the effects of the separation as a whole, there are a few behavior changes that you will probably notice in your child. First, they will typically either act out or withdraw. It seems that children tend to do one of those two things. So you may see them more reserved and more internalizing in their behavior, or you may see them more aggressive or more emotional, which would be the acting out. That is relatively normal, and it tends to come at the worst early on and tend to get better with some adjustments. You may also notice that children struggle in school as a result of a separation. And often, because children spend so much time at school and it takes a lot of mental energy, that they don't have the energy to give to their schoolwork, and they tend to take the laissez-faire attitude where they don't care about their school, they don't care about their grades. So teachers and guidance counselors will often notice differences in behavior at school as well. Another typical issue that children will experience is they tend to want contact with the parent they're not living with. So, for example, let's say that the mother moves out and they're living with the father. They will consistently want attention and interaction from mom. But what happens, unfortunately, after that contact is they tend to seem more confused about the situation. So it almost is if they have a hope that things will be better once they interact with that parent, but then they just end up feeling hurt because things really don't feel better for them. And so it's interesting to deal with those types of problems for kids, and here are some of my suggestions. First, obviously recognize the root of the problem. So as the behaviors are changing, it's easy to get frustrated and want things to go back to normal or the way they used to be. But it's important to recognize that it's a very difficult transition for kids, so they're going to need to deal with things in their own time and in their own way, and they're going to need to have a little bit of understanding with the root of the problem. Another concern you may have is that the child will sometimes want to live with the other parent. So in the situation before where mom might have moved out, they're living with dad. But it seems that children will typically say, I want to live with the other parent, I want to live with mom instead. Even often if that means that they would be in a more difficult situation or one that's less favorable for the child. And what's interesting about kids is it seems that they want to express their ideal world and avoid their actual world. So ideally, mom and dad are still together. Ideally, they can go back to the happy life that they had before, where everything made sense and parents were still in love and taking care of them jointly. So they would rather express the ideal world instead of the actual, where they're confused, they're hurt, they're sad, they're angry. So that can be a pretty normal issue as well. And kids still love parents no matter what has happened, no matter what has gone on. So even when things have been bad, when things have been, less than ideal at home, children will still want to communicate that they love their parents and they want to have the other one in their lives as well. And kids often will believe that the change would fix the problem. So if I could only live with mom, I would feel better. If I could only live with dad, who's no longer around, I would get my way, I would be happier, I'd be able to see my friends more. Whatever they conjure up in their mind would be better than what it is now. And so unfortunately, that's usually not the case. Even if they were to get what they wanted, it would not always work out that way. So what you can do, obviously reflect understanding of their feelings. So you might say, Johnny, I know that you must wish you could see your mom more. And notice that that's a very neutral statement. There is no attempt to convince that that's a bad idea. It's not, I know you'd like to live with mom, but it's just an acknowledgement of their feelings and your understanding that they do wish that they had more time with that other parent. And another way that you can potentially get more information from them is use an I wonder statement, which might be, I wonder what would be different if you lived with mom. And that can open up the discussion for them to explain what they really would like or what they would prefer. And it may be something as simple as, I'd be closer to school and I could be driven to school instead of riding the bus. So that would be in a way that you can be more aware of making accommodations and maybe helping him get to school without having to ride the bus once or twice a month, if that's really what they're after. Another issue that this grandmother expressed in her question was that the parent that has left is seemingly not keeping promises that are given to the child. So the example she gave me was they promised a Christmas gift and the Christmas gift never came. So I'd like to quickly address how you can handle if the child feels that they're not getting what they need from the parent. You can obviously reflect the disappointment. So I know that must have disappointed you. You were looking forward to that gift, or that must have made you feel sad that the gift didn't come. Do not, I'm encouraging you strongly for this one, do not badmouth in response. So it would not be appropriate to say, well, that's the way your mom is, she doesn't follow through with things, because that forces a child to choose. It forces a child to either side with mom, who they really wish they gotten a gift from, or side with you, and then therefore kind of feel negatively toward mom. So make sure that you are not bad-mouthing the other parent, even if you're frustrated, which is understandable. Another suggestion I would have is don't make excuses for the parent. It's easy to try to explain away why that might have happened. Well, she probably got busy, or she's probably going to send you your birthday gift instead. And that just gives the child a sense of they can't trust the other parent and they're not accountable. And so you don't want to make the child feel that way either. And finally, make sure that if the other parent is not being consistent, that you, as the person that is in their life consistently, are very consistent, very direct. You set clear expectations, you follow through, because especially if they're not receiving that from the other parent, it's imperative that they are getting that from you. So I would encourage you to just be aware of making sure that you do keep your promises, you are effective in communicating what you need and expect from them so that there aren't surprises, and making sure that you are just the best that you can be with spending time and energy and effort to make the transition into joint marriage, into separation, a little easier for your children. Until next time, go hug your kids.